And is brought to you by E470 and Express Toll, the best way to save time and money. By Quest, get 2 free gigs back up online with Quest high-speed internet. And by Nissan and your Nissan dealers. Back inside Coors Field, a Friday night, the Rockies, the San Francisco Giants. Bruce Bochy's team has been on the road for a while. They're 2-5 after losing 3 of 4 down in Atlanta against an improving Braves team. Here's his batting order. Randy Wynn up top, then Fred Lewis, who has struggled a bit this year. Pablo Sandoval, their leading hitter at .321 in the 3-hole. Then Benji Molina. Nate Shearholtz, as George told you, has been swinging the bat well. Travis Ishikawa at first. The former Rocky Juan Uribe will be at shortstop. And a young kid, Matt Downs, at second base in front of Matt Cain. Here we go. Randy Wynn, the switch hitter, the veteran, steps in out of Santa Clara University. And Jason Hamill, who pitched very well, George, in San Francisco at AT&T Park against the Giants, misses ball 1.
Well, it's a patient ball club. It's a ball club that's with some veterans mixed in with some young kids. They're going to work the count, try to get on base. Randy Wynn does a very good job of that. Again, I mentioned he's one of the hottest hitters in their lineup. Hamill at home, 1-2, 762 earned run average. Out on the road, 4-2, much better, 193 earned run average.
Yeah, that's one of the things that he's really got to turn around. He has been outstanding, really outstanding on the road. One of the top road ERAs in the game, and yet at home, it's been the exact opposite.
Well, I think some guys get into their heads of Coors Field. They feel like they've got to pitch away from contact instead of to contact, trusting your stuff.
Speaking of stuff, George, that heater that rubbed Wynn off the plate at 95.
Oh, he can do that. He can run it to 95, and it's the placement of the fastball, staying out of the middle of the zone, work both sides of the plate.
And he had him way out in front on a changeup. That's the pitch that really intrigues me, George, about Hamill. He's got the good fastball. He's got a great, especially on the road, that great overhand curveball. That changeup, he's really he's using it a lot more, isn't
Well, when he went 5-0, he really trusted it over those 40 innings. And again, it was 40 hits and 41 in a third innings, an earned run average of 392 when he went 5-0 over that period. And he utilized the changeup an awful lot.
Ian Stewart is at second base. He makes the play on Randy Wynn as we take a look at the Fidelity scouting report on Hamill, the former Tampa Bay Ray.
Well, less velocity. You'll see sink off the fastball when it's in the 89-90 range. The one Drew talked about at 95. You'll see some late fade and cut to the fastball. His curveball's right over the top, 12-6, and he'll add velocity, take off to get hitters out on that front foot. The hard slider has good tilt down and away, and on that back foot of a left-handed hitter, away from the right-hander. And I think that, as Drew mentioned, the changeup is the out pitch he needs to try to utilize. And I think that's a pitch that he needs to trust again, as he did over that time frame.
Fred Lewis is still a very young player, and he's caught George in that place between great athlete becoming a baseball player still.
Well, I think so. And again, I think he's one of those guys that Bruce Bochy recognizes his athleticism on the field. He recognizes what he could do with the bat. And cover ground into the outfield. It's just a matter of when your club's winning to continue to put them out there. And a lot of that along the same issues. A tough play for Stewart. Dives for it off the glove. A base hit for Lewis.
Now let's take a look at the defense for the Rockies this evening. They'll have Ryan Spilborghs, who's hit well against Matt Cain in left field, and Dexter Fowler and Brad Hawk. Garrett Atkins has swung the bat well against Cain. That's why he's in at third base. Stewart's at second. Barmes had not swung the bat well against Cain. That's why you see those two guys at the positions they're situated in this evening. Tulowitzki and Helton, and of course Chris Iannetta behind the plate. So a man on with one out for Pablo Sandoval. He came up from Double-A last year and really took the National League West by storm. He can flat hit from both sides of the plate.
It energized their ball club. Smiles all the time, loves to play the game. Guys were like, well, who is this young kid coming up? Plays first, third, has caught. That's the biggest advantage I think he gives Bruce Bochy. He can be that third catcher for him.
He's caught 3 ball games this year, but it's a nice luxury to have. And a swing and miss by Sandoval. I was talking to Rich Aurelia about him. Rich is now on the disabled list, but Rich has had plenty of seasons in the big leagues. And he gave him some advice recently. He said, you know what, this is a kid, he plays hard, he practices hard. Everything he does is max effort. And he said, you know, there may be some times when you get into the heat of the summer And today's a good example. 100 degrees plus on the field during batting practice, swung on a miss. Where you may need to back off a little bit. Maybe not take batting practice out on the field, go underneath, get your swings.
I would agree with that. Not only that, less ground balls, less throws. Don't run the bases. Take your time in batting practice. Take your normal swings. If you want to go hit more, hit more. If you feel you're locked in, take the day off and maybe take 8 or 10 of those cuts in a batting practice. But you get enamored with Coors Field. It's a great hitting eye. I watched him in batting practice, and he's launching balls into the third deck, into the second deck in right field, into the bullpens, and then it became a personal home run hitting contest for Pablo Sandoval. And when you do that a lot of times, you start to overswing on the baseball.
1 ball and 2 strikes with Lewis, who can run at first. He takes off, and this ball to second, diving stop, and a nice play by Stewart, taking a hit away from Pablo Sandoval. Boy, Stewart getting the test very early at second base, and most of his reps this year have come at third base.
And he has very good range, left and right, so this helps him at second base, obviously. And this is a high chop that it's a 2-step dive for him. And able to pick the baseball from one knee with his arm, go to Todd Helton to get Sandoval. You know, just wondered a little bit if he closed that gap up somewhat when he saw a wind start to go with Tulowitzki covering.
Benji Molina, 263. 11 home runs. He's driven in 50. And the breaking ball misses. Ball 1. Giants had 12 hits yesterday and finally beating Atlanta 5-1. Barry Zito was very good in that ball game. And overall, the Giants have struggled. Losing 6 of 8. Come out of the break pretty slow, and what's amazing to me, they have not hit a home run in their last 7 games. I mean, they don't have a ton of guys with big-time pop, but still no home runs over 7 ball games.
That's very difficult for me to understand for Bruce Bochy's ball club, because that's one thing, they do have a little pop in the bats, and that they have not hit a home run. I understand being out on the road too, but they were in Atlanta where the ball could fly at times, the second highest altitude ballpark in baseball.
And this ball's hit the center field. Dexter Fowler is right there, and it's a solid start for Jason Hamill. Lewis has left the board. We'll see the Rockies offensively against All-Star Matt Cain when we come back. Tonight is a Douglas County Water Pick'em. Rockies fans, go to FSNinsider.com. Check out tonight's Douglas County Water Pick'em. Pick a winner and see how long your streak can go. Tonight's 3 topics: who will win the ball game, who will have more Ks, Matt Cain or Jason Hamill, and which player will have more hits, Pablo Sandoval and Troy Tulowitzki. Dexter Fowler will lead things off tonight for Jim Tracy. The Rockies won 4-3 on Wednesday. Todd Helton's 8th inning home run the difference. Fowler will be followed by Ryan Spilborghs, who's 3 for 6 lifetime against Cain with a couple of home runs. Then Helton, Atkins sandwiching the 2 lefties. Helton and Hop, Tulowitzki, Ian Stewart, Chris Iannetta, and the pitcher Jason Hamill. And the first pitch from Matt Cain, not surprisingly a fastball, and he touches the knees against Fowler. Matt Cain 11-2 with a minuscule 2.32 ERA. Sandoval in on the grass at third, and that pitch misses 1-1.
Become more of a pitcher now than he was before. I think before he was a thrower. You look back at his record in 06, 13-12, then 07 and 08, a combined 15 for 30.
And that pitch misses. 2 balls and a strike. You know what's been different for Matt Cain this year? He's finally getting a little bit of run support. He has had the worst, even with better run support this year, since 04, he's had the worst run support in baseball. Good swing there by Dexter, and it's 2-2. We used to always talk about it, George. He'd come in, he'd have a small ERA, and he'd be like 6-8.
Yeah.
And you're saying, how can this guy be 6-8? He doesn't give up any runs.
And now all of a sudden they're starting to score some runs for him. And again, the results, you go out and give up 2 or 3, you have a low earned run average, you're going to win a lot of baseball games. Last 14 starts, 9-1 with a 2.05 earned run average. The run support this year, 3.14 in 08. This year, 5.23. What a difference 2 runs makes.
Wow, that's huge. Huge. And out on the road, he's been outstanding. 5-1, a 2.39 ERA. He's got the 6th best road ERA in baseball. Rockies have their hands full tonight. And that was an outstanding job by Fowler, laying off what I thought was a great pitcher's pitch.
Very good pitch on a 2-2 count. He ran the slider to the back foot. And Hunter Wendelstedt is behind the plate today, calling balls and strikes.
And he earns a walk. I tell you what, Fowler did such a marvelous job on a nasty slider. That really earned the walk, because the fastball was not close.
A lot of times when things are nasty, you let it go because you know you can't hit it anyway. Let's look at Matt Cain's Fidelity Scouting Report. Fastball 88-95. A little misprint there at the top of that on 85. It's a late cutter. The slider will run 82-86. It has very good outer half movement and down. When it is down in the strike zone, you'll see a very quick bite and tilt to it. And a changeup has become an out pitch for him. He will use that in situations when he's ahead or behind in count. The big number for me that just jumps out, if he gets you 0-2, the opposition is 15 for 176. 085.
That's silly. And also, George, when there's runners in scoring position, he has ridiculously good numbers. You just don't get hits off him. 1-0. Spilborghs has 2 home runs against him, all in the same game. And that is why he's getting the start tonight, the new daddy. First plate appearance after his wife gave birth to their daughter Tiara. Hit a triple off the right field wall as a pinch hitter to drive in a run. 2-0 on Spilborghs. Fowler at first.
He has just enough movement on his fastball. Dexter thought about it, going to force the throw. Everybody backing up in line where they should be for defensive purposes with San Francisco.
I said Tiara. Forgive me. Baby for the Spilborghs. Here's a look at the Giants defense. Fred Lewis, Randy Wynn, Nate Shearholtz. Pablo Sandoval, Juan Uribe left side. Matt Downs, Travis Ishikawa on the right side. And Benji Molina, former Angel and Blue Jay, behind the plate. 1 out, and Helton at the plate. What a ball game he had on Wednesday. One he will never forget. He's got a lot of ones for the memory bank. 500th career double. And then what was even more meaningful for after this double was the home run in the 8th to give the Rockies a 4-3 lead. And that, of course, is the final verdict on that ball game, 4-3. And this is popped up foul ground. Ishikawa and Molina, and it's Ishikawa helping out Molina.
Well, that's the only help he was going to get in front of the Rockies dugout, unless he happened to get close to the steps where they'd have to catch him. Nobody's going to tell him he's okay, other than Molina, but he's watching the baseball as it comes over in front of the dugout, and you can see the lips moving on Ishikawa, and he makes the play on the baseball.
So Garrett Atkins will step up. He drove in the tying run on Wednesday with an RBI ground out. It was a smash off the third baseman, ricocheted to the shortstop. Pitches inside. Fowler again started to go and then shut it down. 2 outs. Dexter at first. Atkins in close to 40 at bats against Matt Cain has hit .324 with a couple of home runs. Driven in 5 before the ball game. Jim Tracy said, you're not talking about 6 or 7 at bats. You're talking about a great number of at-bats, and against the guy as nasty as Cain, you're not going to leave a .324 average on the bench. And of course, Atkins, when given the opportunity, swinging well. Fowler takes off. Molina's throw is in time.
17th guys thrown out of 75 opportunities. That throw was on the money.
That was on the money, and that's all for the Rockies in their half of the first.
Important guys, and in the bullpen with the addition of Shashin and Betancourt down into the Rockies bullpen, and see how it gets tested tonight. Bird Automotive brings this to you. The two main focus for me, Drew, is Hamill and Cain. Cain's going to be a difficult customer to handle.
Shearholtz pops this one up in the middle of the infield. Tulowitzki will make the play.
That's one thing that Jason Hamill has done on the year consistently. 74% of the leadoff men have been retired,
which is a real good number. That'll bring up Travis Ishikawa. Georgia does not seem to be any lingering effect from beaning Edgar Gonzalez, which was can be very unnerving to a pitcher. And Jason Hamill was very forthright in saying that it scared him quite a bit. He felt better the next day when he was able to talk on the phone to Edgar Gonzalez, who's been placed on the disabled list. But,
it's always scary.
Did you ever hit anybody?
Not in the head, no.
Obviously, it's the last thing Jason's trying to do. Any pitcher you should hope is trying to do. It's a pitch that got away from him. And that's a great pitch. You talk about eating up the bat. Ishikawa got that one in on the knuckles, too quickly gone. And it'll bring up Juan Uribe. It will also take us for the first time tonight to Alana Rizzo with this evening's Mike Shaw Auto Update. Alana, good evening.
Good evening, Drew. Just a little bit of an update on Jason Marquis. We know that his next start has been pushed back to Tuesday in New York against the Mets because of that middle finger, the blister on the middle finger of his right pitching hand. I talked to Jason today. He said, I have tried everything on this blister. We've talked about the pickle juice, the cream, a prescription cream. He went to the dermatologist today, and basically what's going on is that the blister is under a couple of layers of skin. You can see the video there of the blister. And he said it may have started, remember this is way back in Anaheim, it may have started because it was a little bit too moist when he was actually pitching. He said it may have been when it came out of the shower it was too moist, or in the cold or hot tub, and that's what he thinks may have started it. But they're still working on everything, including udder balm. And yes, you guessed it, udder balm is exactly what you think it is for the cow udders after milking. He said we're trying everything we can to get this thing taken care of. It looks pretty gross, but it is on the mend, and we'll see him hopefully doing well on Tuesday in New York, guys.
Yep, he was scheduled to go today. It is very painful for him, and especially with his sinker, and that's his bread and butter pitch. George, did you ever have a situation where you had a
No, yeah, just in the start of throwing. When you started, in January, when I started throwing, I had bullpens, the middle finger would get tender where his is. And a guy named Jim Brewer, that pitched for a long time in the big league, said, go home and ice the tip of it. And I would go home and ice my finger. What it did, it developed into a callus. The other guy... No. The other guy that was with the Rockies that had that similar problem was Thompson. And had to remove part of the nail. John Thompson, a right-handed pitcher who was with the Rockies, they ended up having to remove part of the nail because of the blister it continued to create.
3-2 on Juan Uribe. And this is on the ground at Tulowitzki. Nice convenient hop that almost popped out of his glove. And Troy hung in there. 1-2-3 inning for Jason Hamill. Atkins will be up there again when we return. Score. Fans feed your Rockies fever at Taco Bell. If the Rockies score 7 or more during any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day. Between 4 and 6, get 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a drink. That pitch in there, strike 1 on Garrett Atkins. He was at the plate when Dexter Fowler was cut down, trying to steal to end the first inning. Despite the fact that we've been saying the name Matt Cain for several years now, he's still only 24.
That's the thing. He came to the big leagues as a very young pitcher, a very young player. And that's what I said back when he first came up. He was more of a thrower than a pitcher, and they had to take advantage of the arm that he had. Very strong. 6'3", 245 pounds.
This ball on the ground to third. Sandoval throws to Ishikawa for the first out. Earlier this year, Matt Cain beat the Rockies, George, and in 6 innings, he didn't allow any runs. He allowed only 1 hit.
Yeah, he overmatched the Rockies in that start, but the Rockies came back and beat him in another start that they had. And it's difficult as a pitcher to come back-to-back by starters. You know, a lot of times when you see a starter, you say, well, you know, relievers go back-to-back all the time. Well, it's for 1 inning of exposure, sometimes 2/3 of an inning, to work your way out of ball games. But he had to go back-to-back, and on May 2nd, the Rockies got him for 5 runs on 7 hits. Then he came to Colorado, walked 5, but he only gave up 1 hit in 6 innings, struck out 7.
He goes to a breaking ball. 1 ball, 1 strike on Brad Hopp. Brad's just 2 for 20 in his matchups with Matt Cain. And that's a called strike. Brad thought that was up. Home plate umpire, as George mentioned earlier, is Hunter Wendelstedt. Doug Eddings is at first, Dana DeMuth at second, and Brian Knight at third. DeMuth is the crew chief.
There's the changeup. You can see where it crosses the plate extremely high. I mean, it's above the catcher's mask. Surprised that that got called a strike.
Two and 2 on Brad. 15 home runs. He's driven in 61. And a good slider. And that is the first strikeout of the night for Matt Cain, who does accumulate a fair number of punch-outs. Troy Tulowitzki will be next with 2 outs. George, you're an expert on hot. Living in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Today's hot.
Today is hot. I will agree with you. Last week, about 10 days ago, when I got home right after the break, it was 105. The heat index was 111. The air conditioner was 65.
Thankfully, it was working.
It was a good couple of days, though. It cooled down. Actually, it hasn't been too bad. 88 to 90. It actually has been pretty comfortable.
It's supposed to be much cooler tomorrow. Here's the 1-0 on Troy, and it is a high fly ball to right field. Shearholtz has it. Matt Cain works a perfect 2nd inning. We'll go to the 3rd. No score. Just 1 hit in the ball game. It was an infield hit at that. The new Mazda 3 for only $159 a month, plus Bert will make your first payment. By Dex, take the sport out of finding local information with Dex. Find what you need when you need it. Printing online at DexKnows.com. And by the great Colorado Payback, reuniting you with your money. It's a very nice way to enjoy the ball game. First pitch, a strike to Matt Downs. Called up to play second base. Kevin Franson gotten a fair number of starts there. And Downs is down in the count, 0-2. '25-year-old. Second time he's been up this year. Slow ground ball cut off by Atkins, and Atkins gets it. And that's a play, George, the third baseman must make.
Well, they have to make it, particularly with the kid that's got a little bit of wheels, and he does. Downs does, that if he doesn't make it, he's probably going to beat that ball out. Well, tomorrow's photo day. If you come out to the ballpark, make sure you come to gates A and D at 3:30. For all the fans to get in, take a picture of your favorite players and coaches. You can purchase those tickets against the Giants at any one of the Rockies ticket outlets.
And Matt Cain steps in and he quickly takes a strike. And did he go around on the slider? Evidently, yes, he did. I thought he did, and the first base umpire, Doug Eddings, confirms it. It's 0-2. Cain in his career, not much of an average. He's a career 105 hitter. However, he will hit a home run here and there. He hit 2 last year. He has 4 in his career. That's on the outside corner and maybe just a smidgen off.
We haven't seen Hunter Wendelstedt in quite a while.
No, we haven't.
He's been out on the East Coast hanging out.
You know, the home runs goes back to your description of Cain. This is a big, strong kid.
Well, and I mentioned a minute ago, he's 6'3", weighs 245 pounds. He doesn't look like he weighs 245 when he's standing at home plate or on the mound.
He hits this to deep left field and off the wall. Chance to get him at second.
No, he's out.
He slipped past the bag and they got him. Great throw by Ryan Spilborghs. Cain cut down 7-4.
Well, the hardest part realistically was for Ian Stewart because he knows where the ball's coming from, but so does Matt Cain. So Cain's going to slide on the outfield side of the bag to try to extend any kind of a tag. Cain thought this ball was out of the ballpark. Plays it right off of the hop. Now watch where the throw comes about 10, 12 feet in. See how far he slid out. Dana DeMuth did not call him out immediately, and I think part of that was the fact that Matt Cain slid past the bag and into Dana DeMuth. I think he was out on the first tag. Came back for the second one, got it.
You're right, he was out twice.
He was out twice, but we still have to play for the last out.
Now Randy Wynn at the plate. And that's what you want on a hot day. You want the pitcher driving around in the ballpark, right?
They love it, yeah, particularly at altitude.
Well, that'll take a couple of bullets out of his repertoire. 1-0 on Wynn, who bounced to second. And that's in there for a strike. Giants were in second place for 53 consecutive days before the Rockies a few days ago overtook them. Just a game separates the two clubs. And I don't know how many people, George, going back certainly to February and March, thought that in late July, the two leading clubs in the wild card race would both reside in the NL West, and they'd be the Rockies and the Giants.
Well, I would agree. I think that a lot of people probably would have said the New York Mets. At that time, everybody was healthy. They had Delgado, they had Reyes, they had a good baseball. Beltran was also alive and well at the time. I think that you probably would have said either Milwaukee or Chicago or St. Louis, one of those three teams in the Central.
Hamill beats Wynn inside with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Hamill matching Cain right now. He looks terrific. No scores. We go to the bottom of the third. No score. We go to the bottom of the third. Bottom third of the order for the Rockies. Ian Stewart, Chris Iannetta, the pitcher, Jason Hamill, Drew Goodman, George Frazier, and Alana Rizzo tonight. If your windshield has any damage, please call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safe Flight Auto Glass, 303-287-5000. Online at safelight.com. That's what you like to see for your pitcher. The jersey's dirty, the pants are dirty.
He's sweating a little bit, isn't he?
Yeah. Out on a head-first slide into second, and the fastball. Ian Stewart is too tall, ball one.
Drew mentioned that after running the bases the way he did at the head-first slide, and we had difficulty over there in the dugout. It seemed like trying to get his breath back at altitude and running that way. Let's see how this inning goes for him. Testament of how good a shape you're in this late into the season.
They said he was really sharp in his last outing at George. Remember, he got hit on the elbow right before the All-Star break. Was an All-Star but couldn't participate. They pushed him back in the second half a little bit. And with the week-long rest, he was very good in his first post-All-Star outing.
5 hits in 7 innings, just a run. He struck out 8 in those 7 innings. It was against the Pittsburgh Pirates.
They were concerned because he got hit right above the elbow on a line drive.
You'd always be concerned for bone structure more than anything else, or a hard bruise on a bursa sac type area that would tighten the elbow up. John Miller, if he didn't catch that.
Well, Kruko saved him.
Kruko wasn't even anywhere near it, trust me.
Did that go? Yeah, that went.
No, Kruko always has a ball that's flipping around.
Exactly.
Right.
Three and two on the very patient Ian Stewart. I'll tell you what, the first two hitters here in the bottom of the order, this is where the Rockies batting order to me is very intriguing. Not only can these two guys hit the ball a long way naturally, but you have to throw them a strike.
They will work the counts because obviously hitting lower in a lineup, you're trying to move to get your pitcher through that inning.
And case in point, Ian Stewart, a leadoff walk here in the third. Second walk allowed by Matt Cain. That'll bring up Iannetta, who in 32 career games against the Giants is hitting .334. He always hits well out at AT&T, it seems like, also.
Well, he does hit very well at AT&T. You see the average Drew just mentioned for the season, not that strong right now, but has been in the past.
And Iannetta hits a double play ball.
Downshot, a pretty strong arm there. He was very upright over the top of the bag, straddling as Stewart came into him. He made a little bit of a late feed, but a very strong arm on the money.
So Jason Hamill will step up. Rockies have won 10 of 14 coming in after taking 2 of 3 from Arizona. 5-2 so far in the second half. Final 3 games of this homestand. Then they're on a long trip, 10 games over 11 days. That'll take them to the Big Apple. Our first look at Citi Field. I look forward to that. And then on to Cincinnati. Dusty Baker's got some pitching. And then the red hot Phils. Hamill fouls off this pitch. 36 pitches so far for Matt Cain, which is a very good number. And there's the strikeout.
Well, so much for running the bases.
Yeah, he looked pretty good, didn't he? We'll go to the fourth, no score.
question. Mark Burley's perfect game yesterday was the 17th no-hitter in White Sox history. Only 2 franchises have more than 17. Who are they, guys?
What a performance by Mark Burley. And the Rockies will see a guy who threw a no-hitter recently in Jonathan Sanchez tomorrow. And if not for an error on Juan Uribe, he would have had a perfect game. Fred Lewis out of the 2-hole will lead it off in the top of the 4th inning against Jason Hamill, who's been terrific. That ball pulled down the line, get fouled. It's into the corner. And Lewis, who runs very well, is going to stop at second base. So a leadoff double for Fred Lewis. He has 2 of the 3 hits tonight for San Francisco.
Well, look at the location. Let's see where this pitch was. Is it where Jason Hamill wanted to throw it? A changeup that's down and in. He just drops the head of the bat on it. This is not a bad pitch when you start to put the elevation of the baseball crossing home plate. And where Iannetta went down to try to catch this pitch. And then here it comes right into your screens, folks. He just hooked this thing right down into the corner. And then the thing that kept him at second was, of course, the strong arm of Brad Hopp.
Pablo Sandoval was robbed of a hit by Ian Stewart his first time up. And that fastball misses, ball 1. Now, Lewis in his career has always hit well, not only against the Rockies, but in particular at Coors Field. He's 22 for 62 lifetime at Coors Field. And that misses, 2-0. To a guy you don't want to fall behind. Sandoval, borderline all-star this year in his first full season in the big leagues. 321 average, 15 home runs, 57 RBIs, though he's been slumping a bit lately.
Hamill did a good job making him chase the fastball away in his first at bat, and he finally hooked one to Ian Stewart.
And they're trying to stay away. Yeah, they're trying to stay away, obviously, so he can't pull the baseball and thus move Fred Lewis. 2-1 on Sandoval, 2 for his last 18 at the plate.
Well, 2 big holes, I should say 3 holes that most left-handers can have, and these are guys that are average hitters. Obviously down and in, bust hard on the hands, and then up here away from him in the strike zone. This ball up here is the one they typically pop up to left field.
This ball to right field, and it's a foul ball into the seats. Well, a big trade today in baseball involving Matt Holliday. He moves from Oakland to the St. Louis Cardinals for 3 prospects. The last #1 pick, Brett Wallace for the Cardinals. 2 years ago, Shane Peterson, and #2, Clayton Mortensen. And Holliday making an impact in his first ball game with the Cardinals, hitting behind Albert Pujols, 3 for 4. A double, and run scored, and an RBI, also a stolen base. And this is a base hit to center field. Now Lewis had to wait, so he'll stop at third. First and third, nobody out for the Giants. The first legitimate threat of this ball game.
And let's look at the location of where they wanted to try to take this pitch on the Hyundai Cam. Another curveball that is popped up down the left field line. Trying to work, see how far Iannetta slid back away from the hitter. As the ball stayed out over the plate, you slow it down to give him an opportunity to adjust to the breaking ball, and he took it right back up the middle. You're right, he had to freeze at second. And with nobody out and in the middle in the heart of this order. And one of the hottest guys, Nate Sherrills, is in the on-deck circle, but a very dangerous hitter with men on base, and that's Molina.
Very difficult right now to keep San Francisco off the board. First and third, nobody out. Molina rarely strikes out. He is a big double play candidate. But Molina, generally speaking, gets it in play.
Amazingly, with runners in scoring position, 237 on the season. That surprises me about Molina. Obviously plays a lot of baseball games. He's a 50 RBI, second on the ball club to Sandoval's 57.
And this is fouled off, 1-1. Both Benji and Yadier Molina Guys that are very difficult to strike out. In fact, last year, for a good period of time, George, remember they were 1-2 in the National League in toughest to fan.
And I think the reason behind that, their hand-eye coordination is so good, and they anticipate pitches. They're both catchers. They know situations. They know when a guy's going to make a pitch in a certain situation.
And a slow ground ball. It should be hard enough to turn too. The run comes around. So 4-6-3 on the turn. The Giants have a run for Matt Cain, 1-0. Here's a great illustration. Hamill made a tremendous pitch, but he still got the bat on the ball, and he gets a run home for a guy that typically doesn't need much support.
No, he doesn't need a lot of support. And you're talking about Matt Cain. It's a hard slider down and away. Watch this ball break away, and then off the end of the bat, just shatters the bat right in his hand. But again, as Drew mentioned, he doesn't run well at all. Schultz has had his time with the Rockies also. A .348 average in his career, 16 for 46.
He's a solid player. Line drive hitter, a gap hitter.
Good arm in the outfield.
Yeah, very good arm. He's hitting 400 and 440 in his career at Coors Field. And this ball's hit well to right, really well. And gone. His 4th home run of the year. Nate Shearholtz makes it 2-0. And you can see Hamill's reaction. That is a pitch he wanted back. A fastball that was up out over the plate.
You know what, though? It almost looked like he got jammed. The way he swung at that ball, it looked like it was in, but not in far enough, obviously, to get the ball out of the ballpark. But that just shows you the strength of Nate Shearholtz, his 4th home run of the season. Look at this pitch, and watch the swing on the Hyundai cam. See how he gets his hands inside the baseball, and then just everything kind of clears.
Yeah, ball moved back out over the plate.
A little bit pure swing there when you watch it in slow motion versus in real time as it happened during the ball game.
How about this? Their first home run since the All-Star break. Every other team in Major League Baseball had hit a home run except the San Francisco Giants. And the Giants, when they score first, are very tough to handle. They're 42-9. The Rockies will have to come from behind, down 2-0 now. 0-1 count on Travis Ishikawa. That's a nasty curveball. It's a 2-strike count. Ishikawa gone on a hard breaking ball, and that's all for the Giants, but they had a very productive 4th inning. A double, a single, a double play produced the first run, and then the home run from Nate Shearholtz. The Giants lead at 2-0, middle of 4.
Be a question. The question was, Mark Buehrle's perfect game was the 17th no-hitter in White Sox history. There are only 2 franchises that have more. Drew and George, you guys have an idea?
I'm going to say the Dodgers are 1.
Correct. They have 20.
20? And I'm gonna
20 no-hitters. The other one is in the American League.
Angels.
Nope.
Boston?
Yes.
How'd I guess that?
They have 19. So the Dodgers have 20 and the Red Sox have 19.
That pitch is in there, Alana. Thank you. That's a good question. Mark Buehrle threw a no-no a couple of years ago. How about the play by Dwayne Wise? That could go down as one of the all-time great catches.
Yeah.
You're talking about the situation. This ball down the line. Oh, my goodness. Sandoval. Highway robbery. And Kane, who has not given up a hit yet, albeit it's still fairly early in the game. If that continues, everybody will be showing that play over and over again.
Yes, they will. You better believe it, because he's got to backhand this ball. You got a lot of speed, too. A line drive. He just one-step dive, get a glove on it, get to his feet. Snap through over. Dexter 4.15 down the line that time when he hit the baseball, put the clock to it. So it tells you how hard he hit it and the response time that Sandoval had to get the out.
Yeah, this kid's a fun guy, George. You were talking about it earlier. He loves to play. He's always got a big, bright smile on his face. He's a kid, Pablo Sandoval. I mean, a little more than a year ago, he was an A-ball. And he just tore up A-ball in the Eastern League at Connecticut, which is AA league. And
he took advantage.
Yeah, and last year he came to the big leagues and he thought it was A-ball. I mean, he hit 3-something last year, and this year's the same deal. Now, I want to say this diplomatically and respectfully. He doesn't have Matt Holliday's body. He doesn't have Ryan Spilborg's body. He's a little pudgy right now, but he's cat-like quick.
I said little pudgy guys can hit.
They can hit and they move pretty good.
Yeah,
I guess,
they move pretty good. A couple of quick steps there, and I think that foot speed, that quickness, left to right, comes obviously from blocking baseballs behind home plate, being very quick, very strong.
Yeah, he's probably not going to be on the cover of GQ anytime soon.
By the way, I got a little trivia for you, Drew.
What?
Buehrle threw his perfect game, right?
That's in there, 3-1.
Right,
yes.
Harry Cooper was umpire.
Okay.
Yeah, threw his no-hitter April 18th, 2007 against Texas.
Was Cooper behind the plate?
Cooper was umpire. I think Buehrle should buy him like a trucker car or something. What do you think?
I think that may be in order. I think Bud Selig would kind of frown on that, though.
Well, maybe take him on a hunting trip or something. Buehrle loves to outdoorsman like so many baseball players are. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing. I wonder if that's ever happened before. I mean, Ryan threw 7 of them.
Oh, boy, Dougie, here you go.
I'm sorry. There's no way that they had the same umpire behind home plate. You think?
Doug loves challenges, but I think this one might be a little beyond.
Doug put a nice list together. It's 3-2 on Ryan Spilborg's. Share it with you in a moment. This is fouled off again by Spilborg's. Guys, George, that threw a perfect game, and there's only been 18 of them if you include the 2 prior to 1900, 16 since 1900. Guys that threw a perfect game and also had another no-hitter. One's pretty easy. This is chopped to Kane. He'll throw the fastball to first. Spilborg's retired. 2 outs. Actually, if you think about it, George, 3 of them, Buehrle's one of them. There's 6 guys on this list. Buehrle you have. 2 of them you should be able to get.
Well, you're staring at the list.
I know, but because I'm staring at the list, you should be able to get it. Because I already have it.
I noticed.
I was really quick coming up with these. Especially after Doug handed it to me. Helton fouled out his first time up.
He's not one on the list.
It's in there for a strike. All right, I'll start giving you hints. 2 of these guys are lefties.
Steve Carlton?
No, he never had a perfect game.
David Wells?
He had a perfect game, but that was his only no-hitter.
Warren Spahn?
No.
Kind of threw him out there because he won 363 games. I thought maybe somebody might be in there.
2-1.
How about Sandy Koufax?
Sandy Koufax threw 4 no-hitters, 1 perfect game. So 3 no-hitters and then the perfect game. He is 1.
Nolan Ryan's not. I mean, he had no hitters, but no perfect game.
No, he had 7 no-hitters. None of the games were perfect.
Randy Johnson?
Randy Johnson. Yeah, he had the perfect game against Atlanta. Another no-hitter also. Elton hits this in the air to left field. Lewis will make the catch. And the Rockies are without a hit through the first 4 innings of this ball game. They trail 2-0 to Matt Cain and the Giants. Cy Young, Addie Joss, Jim Bunning, the other 3. Your Colorado Hyundai dealers now with Hyundai Assurance. Buy any new Hyundai and get a whole year's worth of gas for $1.49 per gallon. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more in car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service, warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. Juan Uribe. Bouncing ball to short. Uribe again thrown out by his counterpart, Troy Tulowitzki. 2-0 San Francisco, 1 out. Matt Downs out of the 8-hole will be next. Time for our Geico quote of the day. Dwight D. Eisenhower, dear Mr. Larson, it is a noteworthy event when anybody achieves perfection in anything. It has been so long since anyone pitched a perfect big league game that I have to go back to my generation of ball players to recall such a thing. This note brings you my very sincere congratulations on a memorable feat, one that will inspire pitchers for a long time to come. Tulowitzki another chance. And of course from Ike, President Eisenhower, when Don Larson threw his perfect game in the World Series, no less, in 1956. And President Obama, who is an unabashed White Sox fan. In fact, didn't he wear Mark Burley's jacket at the All-Star game when he threw out the first pitch?
I believe so.
He called Mark Burley in the clubhouse after his perfect game.
Well, and I think
the other day.
Mark Burley might want to fly him in for the next start and have him wear a jacket again. Not to throw out the first pitch, just put a jacket on and you can go back home.
2 outs, nobody on. Matt Cain singled off the left field wall 2 innings ago and was thrown out trying to stretch it into a double. Great play by Ryan Spilborghs. Hamill has pitched well. Matt Cain has pitched better. 1-2.
I don't know if you've investigated about the power tickets yet. It's a pretty neat deal. You purchase a midfield ticket at a regular price, and then they give you $10 to use at the concession stand at no additional charge. So that's midfield box at a regular price, $10 to go to the concession stands. The diamond deal is only available online at ColoradoRockies.com.
And the 2-2 is a little bit high. 3-2. 64 pitches in for Jason Hamill as he works in the 5th inning. That's a good number also.
Very good number with, in the 5th inning with 2 outs. By the way, I walked down the hallway to say hi to the boys, Jack and Jeff, Mike, and they actually caught that foul ball again.
caught it.
When did Crew well, the room caught it.
The room caught it.
The room caught it, yeah.
And then they did a euchre with it when it stopped rolling.
They picked it up. Yeah, Mike did. Mike Rotello, who's their engineer.
Matt Cain with another lengthy at bat against Jason Hamm. This is just the 6th meeting of the year between the Rockies and Giants. 12 more after tonight. The Giants have won 3 of the first 5 this year. That's a good swing by Cain. Of late, the Rockies have played well against the Giants. 11-6 over the last 17 encounters with San Francisco. This is in the air down the right field line. Brad Hopp, a long run, and he made the catch. Very nice play by Brad Hopp. And he knows he's going to run into a wall that's about waist high. Well done by number 11. 1-2-3 inning for Hamill. Tonight is the anniversary of a ball game you're very familiar with. George Brett hits a home run, right? No, wrong. Pine Tar. The Pine Tar game, Tim McClellan indicates that Brett is out. Here comes George.
Well, I was actually at the ballpark. I actually pitched the final outs of that ball game 2 months later in August. And yes, George was very upset, to say the least. The Pine Tar cannot go up the bat more than 18 inches, so McClellan measured it across home plate.
And Billy knew he was going to pick a spot with George Brett, and he found the right spot.
Well, he was alerted by that whole deal by Greg Nettles.
And how did Nettles know?
He knew the rule, and he looked at the bat. When Brett brought it up to the plate repeatedly, well, we'll just wait and see what happens. Told Billy, wait and see what happens one time. What was unique about that, not to bore you with a lot of stories about Billy Martin, but he had me appeal to every base, except for home base, because it wasn't the same umpiring crew that came back in to umpire the ball game at the finish 2 months later.
This ball down the right field line, and Shearholtz gets over and makes the play in fair territory.
And every umpire had a signed affidavit from the previous umpires that had worked the game. It said that Brett had touched all the bases. They had their bases covered, so to speak.
So the Rockies, with 1 out in the 5th, have had 2 base runners. A walk to Fowler in the 1st. He was caught stealing. And then Ian Stewart, a walk leading off the 3rd. He was raced on a double play ground out by Chris Iannetta. And to be very frank. I don't really recall any ball other than Fowler's that was hit particularly hard against Matt Cain. Fowler robbed by Pablo Sandoval last inning of probably a double. Cain is quickly ahead of Brad Hopp, 0-2. I like what Brad's doing here. He's trying to throw his rhythm off.
Well, he's in a rhythm. I mean, he's catching the ball, standing on the rubber, staring in, getting the sign, and going. There's not any hesitation on his part at all.
And George has done it mostly with his fastball.
He's worked well with the fastball. He's thrown some changeups that have gone well. 5 ground ball outs, 5 fly ball, a couple of strikeouts, and 1 caught stealing. See, the thing is, his velocity, when he gets it to 94, 95, it's not straight. Like that ball on Hop that time had a little cut to it, so it made it difficult to get the good part of the bat on it. And it's a late movement of the fastball. He's mixed his pitches well with Todd Helton. He threw fastballs away to retirement, his first at bat for Todd. And that fly ball the first. Next time up, he started him out with 2 slow curveballs.
Here's something amazing to me. Tonight is Matt Cain's 124th start. He's just 24. 28 of those 123 starts, better than 20%, he's allowed 3 hits or fewer.
That is amazing. That is, I mean, they talk about Lincecum and his dominance over the last year and a half as a young pitcher. That's dominating.
3 hits or fewer. We're not talking about runs.
That's nuts.
Here's the 2-2 on Brad, and he stayed off that. 3-2.
See, I think that's the one pitch Brad Hopp, realistically, since the end of 07 for me, has learned to lay off of, and that's the fastball up and away, about belt high and above, and away from him, which a guy that has velocity can get away with it. And they hit the fly ball to left fielder into foul territory. And what Brad's done a nice job of fighting those pitches off and trying to get to a mistake and take advantage of it.
That may have been a mistake right there. That slider, George, was in a real hittable area. Brad fouled it straight back. You want to call it a mistake. It was an awful pitch, but
this is frustrating for a guy like Matt Cain that knows he's dominating in a ball game, to make nasty pitch after nasty pitch, and then a very good hitter continues to foul them off, and that's the wear and tear they talk a lot about. Or trying to get deeper into ball games.
And ball 4. He went to the changeup on 3-2. So Brad Hopp, a 1-out walk. And here's the beautiful thing about this game. Yeah, the Rockies don't have a hit, but they're only down a couple of runs. And all you need is somebody to run into one, like right now, and it's tied up.
And you got a guy at the plate that's been running into him quite often.
Quite often. And George, think about when Jimenez was leading 3-0 a couple of weeks back. He had a no-hitter going in the 6th inning. He makes one mistake. It turns into a 3-run home run. And just like that, it's a 3-3 ball game.
Mark Reynolds was the guy that took that one.
Tulowitzki hit a high pop to right his first time. And this is fouled straight back. Joe Tulowitzki, 4th in the big leagues in home runs since June 8th. Albert Pujols #1, Carlos Lee, Jason Worth tied for 2nd, and then it's Tulowitzki. One ball, 1 strike. Tulowitzki showed bunt. Rockies 2-10 against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Everybody else they've played this year, they're 50-33. And Troy just got underneath it. He had a pitch to hit there. Hop goes halfway. The catch is made by Randy Wynn. 2 outs, and that'll bring up Ian Stewart. For Excel Energy fun fact of the night, the only catcher to be behind the plate for 2 perfect games, former Rockies first base coach Ron Hassey. 2 other ex-Rockies caught perfect games. Jeff Reed, when he was with the Reds, caught Tom Browning's perfecto. And Joe Girardi, when he was with the Yankees, He's with the Yankees again. But as a player, caught David Cones on the night that the first pitch was thrown out by Don Larson. How about that?
Yeah, pretty amazing.
Here's Stewart. Excel Energy fun fact. We remind you that it's a good idea to run your dishwasher when it's full. This maximizes energy use. Learn more energy tips at responsiblebynature.com. Stewart walked his first time up. Stewart with 17 home runs. At least in this inning, and there's nothing to show for it yet, but the Rockies seem to have better passes at Matt Cain, George.
Second time through the lineup, a lot of times you might catch a pattern. You may catch a release point you didn't see in the first half. Go up and watch tape and see after that first time through, then the second time, what you can do with it. Now, typically, he gets stronger, as the averages tell you, as the game progresses. 273 early, 248, and then 190 something after that. The thing that jumps out at me with Matt Cain, nobody on base, the opposition's hit 289. As soon as he gets a runner on, $158, and if they get in scoring position, 144.
Well, you've often said this, George. You can tell when a guy has late life when seemingly hittable pitches keep getting fouled back. They're just missing it.
And Tom Greenway, a longtime scout with the New York Yankees, had told me one time, signed Mickey Mantle, some other guys. He said when you see balls getting fouled off that are coming straight back into the screen, there's not much movement on that fastball. But when you see him fouled off left and right, there's movement on the fastball.
Two outs, 2-2 with Brad Hopp at first base. 2-0 Giants. Here's an interesting graphic. All-time lowest opponent batting averages at Coors Field. Matt Cain #1 at 229, then Ubaldo at 236. Chris Young on that list, and the future Hall of Famer Randy Johnson still on the disabled list with the Giants. And again, Stewart.
To break it down a little farther, 75 pitches and beyond, the opposition has hit 105 against Matt Cain. That's pretty impressive. You're getting late into ball games, that second, third time through, making the pitches that you need to make.
The one good thing that's happening this inning, Hopp had a long at bat, and now Stewart having a long at bat. So the next pitch for Cain will be his 77th. Inside, 3-2. So Hopp will be off with the pitch.
Well, we mentioned Drew has, and we've talked about the pitch count, but look at this inning in the fifth. 25 pitches. 16 was the most prior to that, the easiest inning being the second with 11.
Ishikawa moves behind Hopp. Here's the 3-2. And it's looked for a base hit. The first hit of the night for the Rockies. Hopp will go first to third. And with 2 outs, the Rockies have 2 on. So Ian Stewart breaks up the no-hitter with 2 outs in the 5th inning. And that was quite an at-bat for Stewart.
Fouled off numerous pitches, breaking balls, curveballs, sliders, change-ups. Here comes the fastball, and you're going to see where the ball is. And a miss by him location-wise, and then Stewart just stayed on the back leg long enough, let the hands fly to the baseball. Drove it out of the reach of Ishikawa, who had come off of the bag playing behind Brad Hopp.
Well, let's see if Chris Iannetta can come through here. Iannetta saw 1 pitch his first time up and grounded into a 6-4-3 double play. That's low, ball 1. Iannetta 3 for 7 in the Arizona series. He had Wednesday off, so he is very fresh. Chris surprisingly has seen Matt Cain only 5 times, 1 for 5. 2-0. Cain may be very careful here, even if it means loading the bases, George, because Jason Hamill is on deck.
Well, why let Inetta run into a fastball? That's the thought process going through Matt Cain's mind. He knows he's a very good fastball hitter. So why get into that situation? It may mean 4 more pitches. It may mean 35 to get out of the inning, yet you contain and keep your shutout going. Challenged him with the fastball.
He did. Inetta popped it up. Downs will make the catch. Well, the Rockies get a base hit finally. Ian Stewart. They leave 2 on. It's 2-0 Giants. We'll go to the 6th. '61. In an unusual midseason exhibition game at Yankee Stadium, the Giants beat their former crosstown rivals 4-1. Mickey Mantle's home run accounts for the only run for the Bronx Bombers. Willie Mays had a couple of RBIs for the former New York Giants, and at that time they were already out in San Francisco. 50,000 people were at the stadium for that one. The Giants used to occupy the Polo Grounds in northern Manhattan, just across the bridge. A lot of people don't realize that was just across the bridge, a short walk from Yankee Stadium.
Very important inning for Jason Hamill. Top of their lineup. It's a 2-0 ball game. Don't let it turn into a big inning. Don't let it get carried away into that to where it costs you in this ball game and a chance for your ball club to get it going. Matt Daly's starting to move around in the bullpen for the Rockies.
Well, you would assume Hamill's scheduled to lead off, George. If he gets through the 6th inning, if you're Jim Tracy, most likely you're going to go to your bench. You have one hit and 4 base runners tonight against Matt Cain.
Well, you almost have to.
Wynn just did get a piece of that. You think about it, Hamill has pitched very, very well in this game. It's just Cain has been almost unhittable.
Well, he has been. The hard line drive over there. The other ball that was hit hard was Dexter Fowler. You mentioned that on the one hopper that Sandoval just made a great play on.
2-strike pitch up high on Randy Wynn. And an easy play for Ian Stewart. Wynn is retired for the 3rd time tonight by Hamill. Fred Lewis will come up. He is yet to be retired by Hamill. An infield hit and a double. Tonight's high-speed pitch is brought to you by Quest High-Speed Internet. Cain's hit 96, Hamill's hit 95. 2 pretty special arms.
It's guys like Cain that if let's say he would have got off to a little better start, you know, you mentioned coming up at a young age. He's one of those guys that has a chance to get 250 wins because his career started at such a young age. Now, having losing seasons early cost him to get that kind of a lofty goal. But, you know, you start to look around baseball, there's not going to be another 300-game winner for a long time. I mean, a very long time.
Guys don't pitch long enough.
Right, exactly. They make so much money over an 8-10 year span. One guy that jumped out of there, Mike Mussina, with what do you have, 275, 280 wins?
Yeah, I mean,
and he retired.
Yeah, CC Sabathia, fairly young guy with more than 100 wins. It's not only that, George, that they don't necessarily pitch 20 years like you have to pitch at least that to get 300 wins. It'd be special and healthy for all 20 years. But guys in today's game typically don't pitch deep enough into ball games.
Well, I thought it was interesting.
This ball's well hit by Lewis again. And it's going to drop between Fowler and Spilborghs, and Lewis is going to be at third with a triple. Single, double, triple for Fred Lewis. And he came in just 4 for 24 in the month of July. He had lost his everyday starting spot.
I tell you, it reminds me a little bit of the Diamondbacks that left town here recently, and Stephen Drew wasn't hot until he got here. And he started swinging the bat at everything. This ball had a lot of late fade to it. I looked up at the flags just to see, because I thought Dexter kind of had a beat on this ball. See how that ball tailed away from him quickly right at the very end. And Freddie into second base, or excuse me, third base with a triple and a tough out here. You're going to pull your infield in halfway with a contact guy like Sandoval.
And again, trying to run that fastball away. Hamill misses. And last cycle, Fred Lewis 2 years ago. He's only a home run shy. I remember that ball game. He had a grand slam. It was his first career home run. It was a grand slam, and it was part of the cycle. Off the corner, 2-1. Benji Molina's on deck. Hamill trying to keep it a 2-run game.
Good arms all the way across the outfield for the Rockies, too. You get a hard line drive right at somebody, it's going to be difficult for Lewis, or a short fly ball. They will test it with a 2-0 lead.
They may just put him on here, George.
Well, you set up the double play because Molina's in the on-deck circle if you do it. You take away any risk, obviously, and that's what they're going to end up doing. And Molina hit into a double play in his previous at-bat. Hey, it's a smart move with Jim Tracy. And now Hamill has to respond by making the pitch, which was a hard slider away that shattered the bat. Got the ball on the ground.
And Benji is slow enough that virtually anything on the ground will be a double play ball. So first and third. Infield drops back, trying to turn over 2.
Now on the other side of that, you got to try to counter if you're Bruce Bochy, and that's put a runner in motion. So when the ball is hit on the ground, you may hit into a line drive double play, but if you prevent that double play, if you can get Sandoval in motion, he was not there on the first pitch.
Sandoval runs okay at first. Freddie Lewis, who you'd be most concerned with, runs very well at third.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you put him in motion, maybe you can open up a hole in the defense. Put on like a hit and run.
Good guy at the plate to do that, Molina. There he goes, and there's the hit and run. George, you called it. Base hit. It's going to be first and third, 3-0.
See, that happens a lot of times because you just open a hole up when you put somebody in motion to go cover the bat.
Yeah, Bruce Bochy reading your mind.
I hope not. If I had a base hit and an RBI, for Molina, see, Stewart goes to cover on the bag, and that just opened up the whole right side. When you have guys on base that don't have a lot of speed, and then a guy at the plate, and I'm talking about Sandoval, who runs above average, but he's not a flyer, and a guy at the plate that hits into a lot of line drives, you put a hit and run on, put people in motion, open up your defense.
Giants up 3-0. Nate Shearholtz at the plate, and there is Jhoulys Chacin.
Give him time to get loose. He threw one inning in his last start for Tulsa. That was on Wednesday night. So he's had this 1 day of rest to come back, and he had two ground ball outs and a fly ball out. He threw 10 pitches, 8 for strikes. So it was almost like working a miniature bullpen to get out for that day.
He probably was shocked when he was told he's done after 1 inning. Of course, that's the one time that you don't mind being shut down.
Well, it was really comical as you listen to the radio broadcast. As I drove away from the ballpark out there that night. Is he hurt? Has he been traded? Where's he going? Because obviously in Tulsa they had no idea why he was gone after 1 inning.
Here's the 1-2 on Shearholtz.
And I think, fans, if you're watching this game and Jalish comes into this ball game, is he very good? Absolutely. Is he probably one of 5 top pitching prospects in the organization? Yes, that's why he's here. But by no means should you put a ton of pressure on this kid to be the savior of the bullpen or the guy that's going to come in and do these things. He's going to get eased into his role into the bullpen and making major league appearances early on, like he is tonight, with the team trailing 3-0 at this time.
Well, Jim Tracy said that. He said, we're going to use him, in the middle of the ball game initially, and we'll see how he handles things over a period of time. They're not going to throw him out in the 7th inning in a 3-3 ball game. Iannetta can make the tag on Lewis. The throw to first gets by Helton. Hop is backing up. Everybody's going to move up 90 feet. So there's 2 outs. A throwing error by Chris Iannetta allows Molina to go to 3rd and Shearholtz to go to 2nd. So Sandoval tagged out at the plate.
Right off the end of the bat, and the ball spin, and Iannetta, good job keeping it fair, reaches out, tacks Sandoval, and then just gets on top of the baseball. And when he does get on top of this, kind of jams it down into the ground. When he rushed this throw up, you've seen Helton pick numerous balls like that, but that ball seemed to hop up off of the grass. So 2 outs, 2nd and 3rd, and you're going to face a left-handed hitter in Ishikawa.
And it is imperative, already down 3-0, that Hamill find a way to get Ishikawa.
By the way, just 3rd error this season on Iannetta. You're talking about a position that handles the baseball an awful lot. It's a very low number.
And he went over 155 games without an error, which is the longest stretch of any position player in Rockies history. Broke the record of Corey Sullivan. Ishikawa hitting 168 out on the road, 0 for 2, a pop out and a strikeout. And he's behind 0-2.
Well, the party suites here at Coors Field, it's one of the best places you can bring anybody at the picnic areas. A great atmosphere to designed to fit any of the events and the budget. 312-2444, 303-312-2444.
Good job by Iannetta. 1-2.
93rd pitch of the game. Remember, very low pitch count for Hamill as he went into the 6th inning. He was into the 60s. The 5th inning. This inning's been very taxing on Jason Hamill.
Helton has it off to Hamill in the inning. The Giants come up with a run. Fred Lewis, a 1-out triple would score. It's 3-0 San Francisco, middle of 6. in the ballgame. Pablo Sandoval, the defensive player of the ballgame, robbing Dexter Fowler of, in all likelihood, a double. And at that time, Matt Cain still had a no-hitter. It was eventually broken up in the 5th inning by Ian Stewart. But that play, the Frost-brewed Coors Light freeze can. Drew Goodman, George Frazier, Alana Rizzo from Coors Field. First to 3, the Rockies and Giants. The Rockies leading the Giants in the National League West and also the wild card by a game. And Jason Hamill due up. Carlos Gonzalez will pinch hit for him, and then Fowler and Spilborghs. Rockies had their best chance to score, really their only chance to score last inning, 1st and 3rd with 2 outs. And Gonzalez fouls off the bunt attempt on a 2-0 pitch. Cain induced the pop-up off the bat of Chris Iannetta. Giants leading 3-0. And this ball pulled to first base. Ishikawa will take it himself. 1 out. 1 gone. Fowler coming up. Time to check in again with Alana Rizzo with tonight's great Colorado Payback Sideline Report. Alana?
All right, Drew, thanks very much. Obviously, the Rockies down 3-0 here naturally want to win this ball game, but they're certainly not putting so much pressure on themselves just because they're facing the San Francisco Giants. You mentioned 1 game ahead of the Giants in the division, 1 game ahead of San Francisco in the National League wildcard race. We talked to Jim Tracy about it earlier today. He said, of course we want to win the game. Of course we want to win the series. That's always the goal. But we're not putting so much pressure on this series because starting tomorrow, we play these guys 12 more times this season, not to mention the rest of the divisional games that the Colorado Rockies will play. So is it important? Certainly. Is it the end of the world if they don't win this one? Absolutely not, guys.
Well, there's so many games left, and I think from a baseball player standpoint, George, they understand that the season's not won or lost in July. This ball has hit the deep center field. Making the catch is Randy Wynn.
Well, I think the one thing you would like to put some separation between you and that team in a wild card situation. So in other words, if you could win 2 out of 3, if you win all 3 of these games, and by no means is this one over with yet, but you could position yourself a little bit farther along to make it harder on them to come back into it. But again, it's July 24th, and I think when a team hasn't won, and the Rockies have won 1 time in the last 8 years, and when that happens, of course, the excitement of the winning streak that has been presented by this ball club and by Jim Tracy as a manager, I think that's what gains enthusiasm in the locker room to help carry you through those dog days of August and September and to stay into the hunt.
2-0 on Spilborghs. Fly ball right field and a comebacker for Ryan. There's some interesting numbers to gauge at. These 2 clubs, games separating the 2 clubs. Since the All-Star break, the Rockies have played well. The Giants have not. Both have 67 games remaining, and both will be at home quite a bit in the second half. Where was Randy Wynn going a moment ago?
Not sure.
He was running out toward the bullpen in right center field. Fortunately, Benji Molina saw it because Matt Cain was ready to deliver the baseball. This ball ripped to right center field. Extra bases for Spilborghs. Second hit of the night for the Rockies. That'll bring up Todd Helton.
Well, one thing Spilborghs does have, a lot of opposite field power, and it's exactly what he did with this fastball from Cain. You can see the ball kind of cut back towards away from him, and he just opens that front side up. But everything starts right back here on the backside, and then he explodes to the baseball. A little bit of an inside-out type finish. You've seen Spilborghs drive the ball, and against Matt Cain now, Spilborghs was 2 for 4 prior to that with 2 home runs. His 3rd hit, an extra base hit.
Ball 1 on Helton. Todd hitting .417 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. 3 for 4 on Wednesday. Tied 0 for 2. And that's a strike 1-1. Jason Hamill goes 6 innings, gives up 3 runs, all of them earned, 7 hits. He walked 1. That was an intentional walk. And he struck out 2. Two and 1. Ooh, Helton had a little loft in that swing, didn't he? He had a pitch to hit up in the zone.
Well, and good hitters like Todd Helton, Brad Hopp, Garrett Atkins, guys that can hit home runs. As the game gets into a different situation and they realize one swing brings them within 1, a little bit more plane into the bat to try to lift the baseball.
Three and 2. Todd on Wednesday became the 16th lefty all-time to produce 500 doubles. The 50th player ever with 500 doubles. 5th active. Ball 4. So now the time run will come up in Garrett Atkins, who of all the Rockies in the lineup has enjoyed more success than anybody against Matt Cain. And at 96 pitches, perhaps fatiguing a bit, here comes Dave Righetti.
More of a step back. There's 2 outs, runners on first and second. Calm yourself down a little bit. Get them back on track with maybe a thought process. Sometimes as you get deeper into a game, a pitching coach can come to the mound and say, what are you comfortable with right now? You haven't located your fastball, and he may say, well, right now I feel good with my arm slot on a slider. All right, well, let's throw a slider first pitch. You know, let's get ahead of the guy, and then you work from there. This is one of the areas that he has really excelled in. Runners in scoring position with 2 outs. The opposition has hit .070 against Matt Cain.
Juan Rincon has joined Jolith Chacin in the bullpen, and Rincon is out there in case this ball game tightens up. If it does, the Rockies will turn to the veteran in the top of the 7th. Here we go, 2 outs, 2 on for Atkins. And that pitch misses, ball 1.
97 pitches in this game for Matt Cain. 53 of those are strikes, 44 balls.
This ball driven to left field, and it is over the head of Lewis. 1 run is scored. Helton, the trail runner, will get a stop sign. Garrett Atkins with a line double to get the Rockies on the board. It is 3-1. And the tying run is in scoring position.
And Atkins continues to do damage against Matt Cain. We spoke of it before. 324 at the start of the game with a couple of home runs and 5 RBIs. Make that 6 on this double over the head of Fred Lewis in left field. Pitch ran right where he wanted it to, down and in. Atkins did a good job opening the front side just out of the reach of Fred Lewis in left field. The Rockies 1 swing from tying this ball game.
Base hit very likely would do it. How about Jim Tracy inserts Ryan Spilborghs in the lineup with Garrett Atkins because of previous success against Cain, and they have 2 of the Rockies' 3 hits.
Chacin has sit down. Rincon is up. Metters, the right-hander for San Francisco, has started to throw in their bullpen. There's Rincon in the Rockies bullpen getting loose.
Metters. Yep. Former Arizona Diamondback. One and 1. Next pitch will be number 100 for Matt Cain. 2 out double by Garrett Atkins. And it's a 3-1 ball game. Helton at 3rd. Atkins at 2nd.
21st pitch of this inning. Last inning it took 28 to get 3 outs.
1-2. This is where Brad has been so good, George, at cutting down a little bit on his swing with 2 strikes. And using left field. Behind 1-2.
And the thing he's trying to do is run that hard, boring slider.
Right through.
Oh, boy. Tough pitch. Just a pitcher's pitch with runners at second and third.
But the Rockies get within a pair on Garrett Atkins' double. And they finally dent Matt Cain. More ball games with the Giants, and then it's off to New York to see the Mets for 4. And that road trip will also include stops in Cincinnati and Philadelphia. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 800-COMCAST. The Rockies trail 3-1, top of 7. And they'll hand the baseball to Juan Rincon, and he'll face the bottom third of the Giants lineup. An interesting decision, George, for Bruce Bochy. 100+ pitches in now for Matt Cain. I don't know if it'll be much of a decision with how strong his bullpen has been.
Well, and again, looking down there, there's nobody throwing in their bullpen. So I don't know that he would make that decision. I mean, Cain's still in the dugout. Unless Metters got loose and then just sat down, he'll get back up and there's 1 out or 2 outs and go from there with it. He'll be facing the bottom of the lineup, Tulowitzki, Stewart, and Iannetta. They're combined 1 for 9, or excuse me, 1 for 8 against him.
Fouled off. I have an interesting stat I've been sitting on for a couple of days that I keep forgetting to mention, and this kind of blew me away when I read it. You know, earlier we were talking about the Rockies had 4 starters with ERAs under 4. Hamels has gone above 4 a little bit. Swung on and missed by Uribe, and Rincon strikes out Juan Uribe. But you realize the Rockies still have 3 guys, Cook, Marquis, and Jimenez, under 4. They are one of 3 teams in all of baseball that have 3 starting pitchers with sub-4 ERAs. The other 2, the San Francisco Giants and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Isn't that something?
Well, and you look around, the reason the Dodgers are where they are. And you see Kershaw's numbers in lately?
Actually, let me correct that, George.
It's not the Dodgers?
It's not the Giants. It's the Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks. But 3 teams in the NL West, and when was the last time? There was no last time. The Rockies had never been on that kind of list.
No. Well, and again, I think the key to their success has been they have diminished the walks greatly. And when you throw strikes, you put the ball in play. And Hamels, Hamill's a great example of that tonight. I mean, he's 7 hits in 6 innings. He pitched a very good ball game. He walked 1.
Right.
He gave up 3 runs. Those are games you should win. I don't care if you're Coors Field. I don't care where you're playing. You go 6 innings, give up 3 runs. Those are games you should win.
Unless you run into a guy like who is at the plate right now, Matt Cain. So maybe he will be allowed to pitch even deeper into this ball game. That, or in a still tight ball game, Bruce Bochy saving his bench. Former Padre manager. Now the last couple of years in Northern California.
Well, I think, you know, what happened in San Diego is that Sandy Johnson came in. Alderson, excuse me, came in. And he brought a lot of people with him. He wrote Deep Batesto was one of those guys. Grady Fuson, another guy that he brought in with him. And by bringing all those guys in, he diminished some of what was going on there. Now, with new ownership, with Jeff Morad, that, you know, Sandy Alderson's gone now. I think Deep Batesto's got 1 year left on his contract. It wouldn't surprise to see some things start to change there, and I think that was in large part due to Bruce Bochy also leaving after a number of years in San Diego.
Rincon does his job. He works a 1-2-3-7 stretch time at Coors Field. Rockies in it with the Giants. It's 3-1. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered.
Tulowitzki coming to the plate against Matt Cain. Think back in his 2 previous at-bats. He just missed on a deep high fly ball to right, then missed on the next one, 2 grains shy of getting the ball at least to the wall, or hit hard. Let's see what happens in this at-bat. Started him off with what appeared to be a hard slider.
That was his 103rd pitch. Matt Cain is a strong kid, big strong kid. He's had an outstanding evening. And he pounds the strike zone there. It's quickly a 2-strike count on Tulowitzki. Will be followed by Stewart and Iannetta. Rockies got their only run last inning on a Garrett Atkins double with 2 outs. Spilborg's got it started with a double with 2 outs. And Tulowitzki is gone.
Just a total different approach Matt Cain took that time with Tuna Whiskey versus all fastballs away from him. It had become sliders. And he worked it down, and once he worked ahead in the count, Doug had mentioned this, 0-2 counts had given me this stat at the start of the ball game, 0-85.
Stewart a walk and a single. His single in the 5th inning with 2 outs broke up a no-hitter. There's Franklin Morales throwing. Ball and a strike on Stewart.
Well, let's follow the Rockies if you'd like on your iPhone, iPod Touch with MLB.com at BAT 2009. Featuring play-by-play, real-time box scores, video highlights. Visit ColoradoRockies.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Ian Stewart. The Rockies a base runner and a big swing away from tying this thing up. Three and 2. Cain hasn't given up a ton of home runs, but a few. He's given up a dozen this year. You mentioned the home run because he's not a guy that you're going to bunch, 4, 5, 6 hits against, and that's called strike 3. 5 strikeouts for Cain.
Well, and again, what is the one pitch that he's gone to on the Hyundai cam? You look one more time, it's that hard slider. This actually backed up a little bit with the red dot, but it was at 86 miles an hour. The average Major League fastball in the big leagues runs 88-91. So it's just a tick below that average fastball, but with a bunch of movement.
Ionetta's 0 for 2. 6-4-3 double play and a pop to second with 2 aboard in the 5th. Never good to assume, George, but you would speculate at least that this is it for Matt Cain, since he's in the 115 pitch range. That was pitch number 114. And it's not like Bruce Bochy should be afraid to go down to his bullpen. His bullpen has been extremely effective.
It has been, and he averages 103 pitches per start. Another slider. I mean, this is the pitch I think he's gone to late in this game. Jeremy Affeld's warming up down in the bullpen. I was just looking to see what his numbers were at home. A 1.08 earned run average at home, 1.25 on the road. Left-handers have hit 241. Right-handers 189, so it's not going to make any difference when you run Affelt to the plate. What it's going to do, looking at the Rockies bench, more than likely Barmes would pinch hit in the next inning against Jeremy Affelt.
Cain will throw to first. That's all for the Rockies in the 7th inning. 2 punch outs and a little ground out. 3-1 Giants. E-Class attention assist of the game. That's a play by Ryan Spilborghs. Matt Cain thinks he has a double, hits it off the wall. Generally speaking, it is a double. Only problem is Spilborghs fielded perfectly and made an outstanding throw to second baseman Ian Stewart, who got him not once but twice. Brought to you by the Mercedes-Benz. You must experience the amazing new E-Class. 3-1 San Francisco. Good look at Ryan Spilborghs. Matt Cain. Looks like a little leaguer. Dirty uniform. 7 terrific innings. Giants up 3-1. Franklin Morales will be next for the Rockies. This call to the pen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 800 Comcast. Morales will face the top of the Giants order. Randy Wynn, a switch hitter, will flip around to the right side. Then Fred Lewis. And then another switch hitter, Pablo Sandoval.
Well, Sandoval also going against left-handers this year has hit 360. Right-handers 310. Pretty big numbers. Healthy numbers against left-handers. Wynn on the other side, 155 versus left. Jim Tracy trying to make sure he gets the one out early to start this inning.
Morales a little bit wild in his last outing. And his first pitch is in there for a strike. George, how about this? With the moves today by the Rockies, their pen is almost completely different than what we saw on opening day. Houston Street's there. That's it. This ball on the line to right field. Brad Hawk will make the catch. Manuel Corpus, by the way, had successful arthroscopic surgery. One bone chip was removed from his elbow today. Juan Murillo's long gone. Jason Grilli is down south. Alan Embry is hurt. Glendon Rush was released. Ryan Spire was designated for assignment.
Well, Juan Murillo was out of options when he was here. He went to Minnesota. They picked him on waivers. He couldn't do anything over there. They ended up releasing him. And again, I mean, anytime you have a bullpen, you're going to settle in on your main setup people, which is 1 or 2, and you're going to have your closer. The rest are going to be transitional type positions. Guys are going to go down. Guys are going to get hurt. You're going to have some difficulties. I think the biggest blow when you look at that sheet, or that graphic, I should say, Manny Corpus losing him. And also kind of tells me maybe that chip bothered him a little bit more this year than what he told people, and he tried to pitch through it to satisfy himself in the ball club. I mean, he had a lot of pride of what he wanted to do, and the toughness side of it came out. Said, I'll just pitch with it, when he probably shouldn't. Matt Daly, right-hander, warming up down in the Rockies bullpen.
2 balls and a strike on Fred Lewis. 1 out, nobody on. Top of 8, and that's inside, so it's 3-1. By contrast, looking at the position players, there's only one change from tonight's roster of position players versus opening day, and that's Jeff Baker, who started on opening day. When I say started, was on the roster, got hurt early on, and then when he got healthy, was traded to the Chicago Cubs. And Morales not even close there. And Fred Lewis walked. So Lewis has been on 4 times tonight, single, double, triple in the walk. And that's where Franklin gets himself in trouble.
Guys haven't hit by a huge average. The left-handed bats have only hit $133 against him. The key has been retiring first batters faced. He was able to get the line drive of Wynn to right, but only 45% of the time he's been able to do that. You can't walk people when you come out of the bullpen. You have to pound the strike zone. And if it's the curveball, then let it be the curveball. If it's a slider, it's a slider. Whatever you can throw for a strike, because his stuff can be overpowering to left-handed bats.
And Sandoval bounces it to third. Chance for 2. There's 1. Good throw from Ian Stewart to Todd Helton. It's a 5-4-3 double play. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Rockies will see the San Francisco bullpen. To tell you about, and one change that did not occur. Randy Wynn moves from center to left, and Andres Torres comes in to play center field. Fred Lewis out of the game. The door opened in the San Francisco bullpen, but Jeremy Affeldt never emerged. Matt Cain is back on the hill. Well, now here comes Bochy, and Affeldt had plenty of time to warm up, so I guess Affeldt now will come through the door.
He will now come through the door, and he will now hopefully give up a couple of runs. I don't understand it. Maybe he just wasn't loose at the time, but when we come back from break, we'll try to figure this thing out.
The pitcher spot is due up, so Seth Smith, the top pinch hitter in baseball, will face Jeremy Affeldt, who has been one of the top setup men in baseball. Affeldt's numbers, a 1.17 ERA. He signed as a free agent in the offseason, and Affeldt has been unbelievable. He has a 26-inning scoreless stretch that he is in the midst of.
On the other side of this, 63% of the time he is not, or he has retired to leadoff man. The other side of that, inherited runners is the big number for me. Anytime you're above 70%, you're outstanding. Anywhere from 60 to 70, you're great. Well, he's at 73% of inherited runners.
The former Rocky in 07, Jeremy Affeldt, and he misses badly there. It's 2-0.
Now, the last run that he gave up, Drew, was May 7th at Colorado. Mr. Hop hit a home run against him.
Well, I think it would be appropriate then that the streak end where it started. Slowly hit to second. Downs comes up with it, and he just does beat Smith with the throw. That'll bring up Fowler. And a reminder that if you have any issues with your window, the people to call are Elite Safelite Auto Glass, 303-287-5000, online at safelight.com. Dexter, a walk in the first, robbed of a hit in the fourth by Sandoval. And then a fly ball to deep center field. And he takes ball one. Rockies down just 3-1. Hits have been hard to come by tonight. Spilborg's a double. Atkins a double. Stewart broke up the no-hitter in the fifth with a two-out single. I think Affeldt finally comfortable as Rafael Betancourt is up. The newest Rocky, along with Jolies Chassin. I think Affeldt, George, finally fully comfortable in his role in the bullpen. When he was with Kansas City, the golden arm, would he be a starter? Would he be a late inning guy? He went back and forth there. And when he settled in with the Rockies in the last couple of years, he has become one of the better setup men in baseball. And a bonus, of course, that he throws left-handed.
Well, he's left-handed. I think people anticipate with his stuff and the ability that he has to throw strikes. He hadn't shown it against Dexter. And the swing and miss pitches he possesses, Bruce Bochy at some point could use him as a closer, or a team could use them as a closer if he could handle the pressure of the situation. There's guys that pitch the 8th inning. I was one of those. There's guys that pitch the 7th and 8th inning that have that comfort zone of a Wilson behind them, that they just air it all out. But when they got to get the final 3 outs, they have a difficult time doing that.
Last year, Jeremy had a very solid year with the Cincinnati Reds.
A bad ball club. Didn't win a lot of games.
Down the line, another fancy pickup by Sandoval.
Twice he's gotten Fowler in this game. Once from the left side on a one-hop shot, and then now this down the line. But late in the game, in a 2-run ball game, you're going to hug the line. But he still dove for this ball. You see how close he is to the line. He's going to backhand spin, come right to the feet. And then here is the strong throw, the catcher's arm at third base. And how accurate is he? Sandoval with 7 errors on the year, 5 of those with the glove, 2 with the arm.
2 terrific plays to rob Dexter Fowler tonight. Ryan Spilborgh's unloaded a double to deep right center his last time up. He got frozen on the curveball. Throws out Spilborgh's, and the scoreless stretch continues for Jeremy Affeldt. A 1-2-3-8 that moves to 27 innings, 3-1 Giants. Online at toughshed.com and by the Courtyard by Marriott on the 16th Street Mall. Ask about our hometown sports package. Pretty night in the Mile High City, but the Giants have a 3-1 lead as we have arrived at the top of the 9th inning. The post-game show to immediately follow the ball game tonight. Tom Helmer has the honors as always. Tom.
That's right. After the game, of course, we'll get you into the clubhouse. We'll talk about the cane in the neck. Matt Cain giving the Rockies fits today. And also right said Fred Lewis. Tremendous offensive output today. We'll talk about his success that he's had here at Coors Field and specifically against Jason Hamels. It's coming up right after the ball game, Drew.
All right, Tom, thank you. Hopefully it'll come after a Rockies rally. But first, the Rockies debut of the longtime Cleveland Indians setup man, Rafael Betancourt. He will get the baseball here in the top of the 9th inning.
Signed as a free agent, minor league free agent by the Cleveland Indians. And when he came out of that, here's some of those numbers we're talking about. 07 was really a breakout year. 5-1. He pitched in 68 ball games. Had a 147 earned run average. Now, earlier this year in 09, roughed up a little bit in April, but he came back and had a growing pull. And Dan O'Dowd was quoted in the paper today saying that may have been a good thing, because obviously you're getting a very fresh arm with Betancourt.
Benji Molina takes ball one. Betancourt had the best season of his career 2 years ago when the Indians captured the American League Central. He was arguably the best setup man in baseball that year. He had an ERA in the ones. And Molina pops out the short right. It was handled by Brad Hopp.
Had a 147 earned run average that year in 2007 when he pitched in 68 ball games. He'll primarily throw a lot of fastballs. He can run it to 94, 95, a very good hard slider to go with that. And he's not scared of the pressure. The situations don't faze him. Thrives in tight situations. So we'll see. The only time will tell if he regroups back to what he was doing in 07 and of most recent the last 45 days in an Indians uniform. He will challenge him.
Yeah, good fastball in on the hands on Nate Shearholtz, who homered back in the 4th inning. At the time it made it 2-0. Rafael Betancourt spent the first 3 years of his professional career after signing out of Venezuela as a middle infielder in the Boston Red Sox chain. And then he was converted. And this is a pop-up in foul ground. Garrett Atkins will have a play. He had to go Willie Mays style, 2 outs. And that'll bring up Travis Ishikawa. He has a reputation for being terrific in the clubhouse. He has made the last several years his off-season home with his family in Cleveland. So he became entrenched in the Cleveland community.
Well, that's why I think it was difficult for him when he got traded from the Indians to the Rockies, because he had become a part of not only a clubhouse and a ball club, but of his city.
Well, Victor Martinez, who caught him a great number of times through the years, is the godfather of one of his children. Well, that's a good pitch. That blew up the bat on a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. A very nice 5-pitch debut for Rafael Betancourt. Now the Rockies must rally against Brian Wilson. Atkins and Hopp again down 2 runs. Fans, feed your Rockies fever at Taco Bell. When the Rockies score 7 or more runs during any ball game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6. Get 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a drink. There's always just 1 order per customer. Great deal from our friends at Taco Bell. So Brian Wilson is aboard. He'll run that fastball 95 to 100 miles an hour. He did pitch yesterday in the 5-1 Braves victory, only because He hadn't pitched in a while.
And he'll run a cutter at 94, the slider up to 90. And the bottom out at 83 miles an hour. 24 of 28 save situations.
And the first fastball at 95. Missed, ball one on Helton. Righty's hitting 276. Lefty's just 149. And a slider for a strike. He's 24 of 28 in save opportunities. So he has kicked the can a few times, but he is one of the better closers in the game.
Managers love guys like Brian Wilson that you can run out in the 9th inning and they can overpower guys. They don't have to trick them with a slider, a split finger. They can just rear back and let it fly. That at 96 miles an hour on the knees on the outer half. And for Bruce Bochy, he's had some pretty good closers. Think about it. Trevor Hoffman was his guy and the best of the best. And then now Wilson that throws the ball extremely hard, leading the National League in saves.
Just missed 3 and 2. You're right, George. I mean, managers have been around as long as Bochy probably can, count through the years, various guys they use in the 9th inning. Bochy just needs 2 fingers.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, is that a comforting feeling to call down and say, oh, by the way, tell Trevor to get loose. Now it's Wilson to get loose to close out a game.
Ball 4. So the Rockies will get the tying run to the plate in Garrett Atkins, who again, though he's not playing on a regular basis, is swinging the bat well. And tonight he has driven in the Rockies' only run with a double over the head of Fred Lewis in left field.
And Wilson on the season had retired 75% of the leadoff men, 30 of 40. Doesn't do it here with help.
In there for a strike on Garrett. Atkins 1 for 6 against Wilson.
There's the cutter with a lot of velocity at 96. It's not a difficult pitch to throw. You just kind of off center the baseball and keep the same arm action you do on a normal fastball. So not a lot of strain or stress on the elbow area. Just a lot of movement at the end of it.
1 and 2. Brad Hopp waiting his turn. 3-1 Giants. Rockies have been out hit 7-3. And a pretty good swing there by Atkins. Count evens up at 2-2.
That's the other side of managing a closer that runs deep into counts. You either chew a lot of gum really fast, you pace in a dugout, you never sit comfortably. Who was it Earl Weaver called Mike Stanton a 3-pack?
Yeah.
So it was 3 packs of cigarettes when he pitched the 9th.
Three and 2 on Garrett Atkins. Helton at first, nobody out. This ball looped to center field. Helton goes halfway, and the catch is made by Torres. Thought for a moment with the outfield deep, George, that may drop.
Yeah, I did too. Right off of the bat, I thought he got on his hands enough that it might loop into the outfield, but Torres with terrific speed had hung just long enough for him to get there. Their outfield playing extremely deep to prevent doubles. and to try to cut off some of the gaps. They've got a lot of speed in their outfield right now. He made a nice play on the baseball.
Brad Hopp hitless in 4 at-bats against Brian Wilson. First pitch misses, ball 1. Hopp 0 for 2 and a walk, couple of strikeouts tonight. Brad has had a penchant for the dramatic in his career. Two and 0. Bill James, the great baseball sabermetrician, who has written extensively on various baseball topics, 2 years ago called Brad Hopp the best clutch hitter in the game, based on the numbers. And this ball pulled in the hole. There's a hit. Helton to second. And the Rockies have 2 on. And the potential winning run coming up in Troy Tulowitzki, who is tied for the club lead in home runs with 17. And there goes another piece of gum into the mouth of Bruce Bochy.
A slider that he tried to get way on top of as it broke down into the zone. Hopp just covered the outer half of the plate and hooked it into the hole where they weren't playing, out of a diving reach of downs. Now you got first and second for the Rockies. Tulowitzki at the plate. A very good fastball hitter. Wilson and Tulowitzki, they've met before. 1 for 6 in his career versus Wilson. $40,000 trying to pull this one out. $40,524 to be exact.
That is in there for a strike. He didn't throw on the fastball.
Well, remember in his last at bat, it was against Matt Cain, and there was a lot of sliders the last down in the dirt, and able to get the strikeout.
Helton at second, Hopp at first, 1 out. 0-1 on Tulowitzki.
With runners on base, the opposition has hit .222 against Wilson. He has given up a home run.
Wilson will throw that high, hard fastball, and Tulowitzki loves the ball up in the zone.
Hard to catch up to it when you get it up to 96 to 98. There it was, a hard heater at 99 off the plate.
Rockies have 34 home runs, 1 standing in the box, 1 standing in the on-deck circle. Tulowitzki was 17, Ian Stewart was 17. Their 2 leading home run hitters are hitting 6th and 7th in their lineup. To give you an idea how much balance the Rockies have.
This is the big at bat for Tulowitzki and the Rockies. That's an understatement.
Down the line, it's foul.
But against Wilson with 0 or 1 out and a runner in scoring position, the opposition has hit .380. That's a high number. With 2 outs, 167. That's called closing the deal.
I've heard pinch hitters say this, George, late in games, and I think it applies here. The pressure's on the guy on the hill because it's difficult to come through in these situations. So as best as you can, try to relax yourself. Easier said than done.
Very easy said, but very difficult to do. You're trying to win the game with 1 swing of bat. He's trying to get you out with 1 pitch.
2-2 on Tulowitzki. On the ground is short. He's got to get up the line. And it is a 6-4-3 game-ending double play. So the Giants win game 1 of this 3-game set, and they pull into a tie with the Rockies in the National League West, and therefore the wild card race. The final score,